Welcome to the Dawg House, your Cleveland Browns insider podcast. I'm Andy McNamara, alongside Browns insider from WKYC Sports in Cleveland, Matt Florjancic. So much to get to today. It is Monday. Roster cuts. They have to be cut down Tuesday by 4 p.m. down to 75. The Browns have made some moves. We're going to get into that. We're also going to spin around the NFL. A couple real big storylines going on, and a possible running back that ties into our Twitter question that might make sense to bring to the Cleveland Browns. We'll go over the third preseason game in Tampa Bay where the Browns put the boots to the Tampa Bay Bucks, and then get to your tweets and emails in the bark off at the end of the program. You can tweet us at AndyMC81, at Matt Florjancic. Email thedoghouseshow@gmail.com. Dogs spelled W-A-W-G. Matt, how are you, buddy?
I'm well, Andy. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. We looked at the roster cuts, and let's roll through them real quick. As of Monday afternoon, and more have to come, but as of right now, we have tight end. Oh boy, they have to start with this one. Anthony
Easy. How about we just stop it there?
You know what, Anthony Easy, and I don't know the man personally, but I know when I'm calling any sport game, football or otherwise, if it's a difficult name and I see them scratched or waived, I am not upset about it. So it's fine. We don't have to say his name. So he was waived. Shane Wynn was waived, and I think that might be somebody they try to sneak onto the practice roster because he's so tiny at 5'6", but he did show some promise in in training camp, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, and I'm a little shocked by the fact that the move came in the first round of cuts. I would have thought he would have made it to that last round of roster cuts so they could sneak him onto the practice squad. I think if you give teams 24 hours, you're less likely to lose them, but if you give them, extended periods of time to look at the guys you let go, then I think you automatically put yourself behind the eight ball in terms of trying to bring guys back. Plus, if you're going to try and bring a guy back, you're going to put him in that fourth preseason game just to get that final eval at him.
Right. So a little surprising, Shane Wynn waived, contracts terminated. Linebackers Everett Brown and Moise Foku, running back Jalen Parmalee, and defensive back Aaron Ross. So no big shockers really out of that group. So that takes him down to 84. Need to get down to 75. Anybody you think is going to get cut that might be a little surprising, or somebody you think is definitely going to be off the roster who hasn't been squashed yet?
I struggle with this, but I think Terrell Pryor's not going to make the roster.
Really?
I would love to see him from a body type standpoint make the roster. I don't see it happening. He hasn't been on the field for 3 preseason games now, and you're starting to get a little concerned about it. It's becoming an epidemic with him of can't keep him healthy, can't get him on the field, can't really evaluate him. And if you can't do those 3 things, chances are he's not going to make the cut. It's a hard luck for him because he's really tried to make a good faith effort to make this franchise, but thus far it hasn't been meant to be. And when you look at something like that, especially from where he's at with trying to make a position change, you can't get on the field, not much is going to go well for you, and it's going to be too hard for you to make up that ground, and I think that's exactly where Terrell Pryor's at right now.
Well, for Pryor, though, do you think they might hang on and see if he can actually get into the 4th preseason game? And on top of that, he would be we said it on Friday, an emergency quarterback option for this team that is a little dicey, especially if Josh McCown keeps taking those big stupid hits like he did in the 3rd preseason game.
Pryor will make it to the final round of cuts. I don't see him making it through it though. I just can't see him making it through. And fortunately, on the opposite side of the football, for a guy like Terrence West, Duke Johnson is hurt again, because if Duke Johnson was healthy and got to show anything of what he was capable of, I don't know that Terrence West makes this roster.
Really?
And I'm being dead honest with you.
Wow.
The undrafted free agent and a rookie 3rd-round pick that they traded back up for would dethrone the former rookie 3rd-round pick that they traded back into the 3rd round for. So you have to look at Terrence West and say, you might have caught a break there, young man. make sure you don't blow it this time.
Yeah.
I think the team was really on their last legs with him.
Jeez.
They say there's not a maturity issue, that he's practicing much better, but he's still a knucklehead off the field posting crazy stuff on social media sites, and you just can't have that on an NFL roster. You can't. You can have it if he's a talented guy and he produces on Sundays, but when he doesn't do that and then he goes out and does stupid things on social media too, you really can't trust him.
No, you just can't. And I wonder if Rob Hausler, the other tight end, the tight end brought in to help replace Jordan Cameron, is going to make the final roster cut. You were thinking Friday, maybe not.
He shouldn't, because of what he's shown an inability to do in practice. He can't even go get open against guys he goes up against day in and day out for 3 weeks straight. I don't think he's a good fit for this offense, and I'd be hard-pressed to find anybody in the media that I talk to that would think he's a good asset to this team.
I'm with you, Matt, because I was so hopeful he was going to be Jordan Cameron the year before his breakout, a guy who just needed a chance and flashed a little bit, but he's been dropping balls. And you know what? Hey, Gary Barnidge is a sneaky playmaker. I'm not saying he's going to be a Pro Bowler, but he's got that size, 6'6", and I think with him, and whether it's a combo of E.J. Bibbs and Jim Dre or whatever, that Barnidge can be another chain mover. The problem for this Browns team, of course, is they just have possession chain movers, and their only over-the-top, deep, dynamic threats are 5'9" or under.
Yeah, you're looking at Taylor Gabriel being your home run hitter and Andrew Hawkins being the guy right behind him who you would suggest could make those down-the-field plays.
Yeah.
And no offense to either one of those guys. They have explosion and they have shown the ability to get down the field, but you're not going to win in this league when your playmakers are shorter than 99% of your reporters. It's just not going to happen. You can't do it.
Yeah.
Belichick even has receivers that are well over the 6 foot mark, 6'2", 6'3", guys that can flat out catch the football. You've got guys whose entire games are predicated on speed, and I'm not saying that's impossible, but what I am saying is that when the speed goes, and say they have a turned ankle or a hammy that's not 100% right, and you still expect them to go down the field and catch the football, guess what happens? Bing, that hamstring goes on them, or that ankle gets stepped on the wrong way, or they come down on it and it kicks back the other way. That's what's going to happen when you rely just on speed. And Andrew Hawkins and Taylor Gabriel have a ton of speed. They have a lot of moxie, and they have some good shiftiness. But if you're expecting them to consistently be that home run threat, it's just not there.
No.
That's why they were so hopeful on Terrell Pryor, and will try and get whatever they can out of them to get some evaluation time on them, but it's just not there yet. This team is not there. This team is not ready to contend. Coming off of 7-9 after starting 7-4, you think, hey, with a couple moves here and there, we might be good. But you got a new OC, you got your starting quarterback for the majority of last year, now starting for the Houston Texans. You've got people that can't stay healthy, and you still don't have a playmaker on that offense. You're just not going to grow. You're going to regress. And people have to be accepting and understanding that this year there might be some rough games to watch. There really might.
I'm going to live in denial for now, Matt. I'm going to live in denial, okay? You can't make me change otherwise until I see them on the field first game. You're listening to the Dawg House. I'm Andy McNamara alongside Matt Florjancic, your Cleveland Browns Insider podcast. Make sure you follow Matt on Twitter at Matt Florjancic. He will keep you up to date on the roster cuts as they happen for the Cleveland Browns. And follow me, too, at AndyMC81, because I will retweet Matt's tweets on the roster cuts. A segment we have now, we like to do if there's news from around the league. It's called From the Shotgun, and there is a few storylines. So here it is From the Shotgun. So we begin in Washington, Matt. And RG3, last year of his contract, big money deal, got a concussion in preseason. He has shown no signs of development. People are still riding off of his rookie season before that injury. Jay Gruden, he's a brave man, has named Kirk Cousins the starter for the Washington Redskins and says, quote, "This is Kirk's team." Do you think that Jay Gruden is long for the world of Washington head coach?
I don't think Jay Gruden's going to make it to the end of the week if he walked in there and legitimately told Daniel Snyder that RG3 is on the bench.
Wow.
Daniel Snyder is a very shrewd man, and he wants what he wants, and when he tells you he wants something, He doesn't mean tomorrow, doesn't mean next week, he doesn't mean next month or later this year. He means right now, and he wants RG3 on the field.
Yep.
They invested 3 first-round picks to get this kid, basically mortgaged the farm for him for the better part of a decade, and to have somebody come in and say, I just can't work with him. He's not reliable enough on the field. He's always hurt. It's a good move for the team. It's a good move by Jay Gruden, but I don't think he's going to live to tell the tale about how good it is.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's hey, and you know what? Kudos to Gruden for being his own man, but sometimes that costs you a job. Other news coming out of Buffalo.
If you're going to take the risk, you better be right. You better hope Kirk Cousins comes out there and sets the world on fire. You better be 9-7, flirting with a wild card spot at this point.
Well,
if you're not, you're in trouble.
I guess the benefit is it is guaranteed money, so he's going to get paid regardless. But just from an employment standpoint, other news coming out of Buffalo. 2 things: Tyrod Taylor named the starting quarterback, former Baltimore Ravens 6th-round draft pick. And if there's one team that feels the quarterback pain as much as the Browns do, it is the Buffalo Bills. E.J. Manuel had a great preseason game, so people thinking maybe him. Matt Castle's kind of the safe bet, but they're going with Tyrod Taylor, and there's rumors that Manuel or Castles would be released. Matt, first, thought on Tyrod being named the starter in Buffalo, unproven guy with some athleticism. And 2, if Castles, let's say, is released, do you see him maybe coming to the Browns?
No, I don't think that Matt Castle will be at the Browns right as he's released. If he is cut in that final round of roster moves, I would see that being a Week 7, Week 8. He's still unemployed. Josh McCown went down. Manziel's off doing God knows what with God knows whom. Let's go get a quarterback. That's the type of scenario I see for Matt Castle being involved for the Browns. With regard to Tyrod Taylor being named the starter, it's a good move if that's what the coaching staff or that's who the coaching staff believes in. If they believe that Tyrod Taylor gives them the best chance to win a ball game, then you have to stick with them. You have to keep riding that horse until you start losing games and you say, hey, EJ or Matt, if one of them's still on the roster, hey, go give me a W. That's the type of thing you have to deal with. You have to move on with your decision. And that's one thing Rex Ryan has never shown a penchant of being afraid of, is he goes out and he makes decisions, and he's going to try to win himself some ball games up in Buffalo. And I think, you're right about the quarterback situation being just as shaky in Buffalo as it is in Cleveland. And unfortunately for Bills fans, that has been the case. But with a proven guy like Rex Ryan running the team, maybe, just maybe, they have some hope in the future.
The only team with a longer playoff drought than the Browns are the Buffalo Bills, who haven't made the playoffs.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to turn the knife in the hearts of the Buffalo fans that I do know. So I mean, I'm just saying, if you have a longer drought than Detroit had, then you know the story doesn't end well.
Yeah, exactly. And the other Buffalo roster move today takes us to our Dawg House Twitter question and email question for Monday, and that is this: the roster move being made by longtime Bill running back Fred Jackson. He's the wrong side of 30, was set to make over $2 million, got released. The team put out a statement thanking him for all his years of service, etc. But we know if you're a running back and you're over 28, your time is limited. So our Twitter question today is on the Dawg House is, which veteran running back available should the Cleveland Browns look to sign? Fred Jackson, just released today from the Buffalo Bills. Ray Rice, who's had some linkage to the Browns. Or C, other. Hit us up on Twitter at AndyMC81, at Matt Florjancic. Email thedoghouseshow@gmail.com. We'll get to some of your tweets in the Bark-Off a little bit later on. So, Matt, Fred Jackson, there is a connection, Mike Pettin, with the Buffalo Bills before becoming head coach of the Cleveland Browns as the defensive coordinator. If the Browns can get him, does it make sense to bring him in?
This is the kind of move that Mike Pettin was praying and hoping for would happen so they didn't have to bring in Ray Rice. I think that it would make sense to bring in a veteran back. I would temper people's expectations and remind them that Willis McGahee was here a few years ago, and that experiment did not
I was going to bring that up.
Or did not go very well. It was a whole lot of talking and a whole lot of good quotes, but that was all there was with Willis. The tread had come off the tire, and the tires weren't balding anymore. They were down to the steel belts and they were breaking. So I would say that Fred Jackson might have something similar. Not knowing his career path all as much as I could, having